Hi, this is Emma again, and welcome to Esoteric Detective. There are many serial killers out there, roaming the world. But there has rarely ever been an entire family of serial killers. Stay tuned as Esoteric Detective brings you America's first family of serial killers. The Bloody Benders were a family of serial killers who owned an inn and small general store in Labette County, Kansas from 1871 to 1873. The family consisted of John Bender, his wife Elvira Bender, son John, Jr., and daughter Kate. The Benders' home was found abandoned after locals started to ask questions about the disappearances of several local residents. All the food and clothing was gone, and inside the home there was found a strange trapdoor. When the trapdoor was open, it was found that beneath was thick pools of clotted blood. The homestead was searched further by a search party, who found 9 bodies in shallow graves around the inn. All but one of the bodies had had their heads bashed with a hammer and their throats cut, and it was reported in newspapers that all had been indecently mutilated. The body of a young girl was found with no injuries sufficient to cause death, and it was speculated that she had been buried alive. A Kansas newspaper reported that the crowd was so incensed after finding the bodies, that a friend of the Benders named Brookman, who was among the onlookers, was hung until unconscious, revived and interrogated as to what he knew, then hanged again. After the third hanging, they released him and he staggered home. A Roman Catholic prayer book was found in the house with notes inside written in German, which were later translated. The texts read, "Big Slaughter Day, Jan 8th and hell departed." Investigators later pieced together what happened. Guests that stayed at the inn were urged to sit in the place of honor, which was against the separating curtain. While eating their hot meals, the guest of honor was then hit in the head with the hammer from behind the curtain. Their throat slit and their body dropped through the trapdoor to the cellar. Although some of their victims had been quite wealthy, others had been carrying very little of value on them, and it was surmised that the Benders had killed them simply for the sheer thrill. More than a dozen bullet holes were found in the roof and sides of the cabin, and the media speculated that some of the victims had attempted to fight back after being hit with the hammer. One man, Mr. Wetzel, remembered when he was at the inn and declined to sit in the designated spot. His decision caused Mrs. Bender to become angry and abusive toward him, and when he saw the male Benders emerge from behind the curtain, he and his companion decided to leave. The Benders' wagon was eventually found some miles away from the homestead. But the Benders themselves were never found. And no one knows what happened to them. The official investigation notes that railroad employees placed the Benders boarding a train for Humboldt, and traced the younger Benders to trains going to Texas or New Mexico. The older Benders were allegedly seen on their way to St. Louis by way of Kansas City. No one knows what ultimately became of them. The house in which the murders took place was disassembled and carried away piece by souvenir seekers. Today, nothing remains to even indicate the exact location where the Bender house stood, although the property is said to be haunted by the victims. What do you think ever happened to the Bender family? Do you think they started to murder again? Stay tuned and subscribe to Esoteric Detective to keep up to date with the strange and unusual. And please give a thumbs up if you liked the video. Until next time, goodbye my friends.